Hey there friends, it's Mark Crowley. I'm back with another message video for my subscribers, and this one's going to be quite different from the other ones I've done. What you're looking at here is a drawing that I did in high school, 1982, and what I want to do is show you a series of drawings through my high school, college years, up to my early first being published years, to give you a sense of, because people are asking me, how do you get published? And I want to tell you how it worked out for me, but before I do that, I want to give you a sense of, the years of practice that come before. This is one that I did at the Detroit Institute of Arts years ago, and let me just sort of zoom in on this face. It's from an oil painting. And as you can see, far from perfect, but that's where I was my freshman year of high school. Let me show you some other illustrations real quick. Here's another one from high school, lead singer of a pop band called Japan, David Sylvian. And I always laugh when I look at the kanji here, because it almost looks like real kanji, but I was like throwing in little extra lines and stuff. I had no idea what I was doing. This is kind of interesting. This is the cover of a sketchbook from my college years. And if I zoom in here, you can see this list of names written by my teacher at the time, David Small, published children's book author, illustrator, and he listed these artists that I should be studying: Da Vinci, Michelangelo, and so forth, the great masters of Western art, especially drawing. And I went ahead and I followed his advice and started doing studies of these. Hang on, I'll show them to you. So yeah, here's an illustration, a study of a drawing by Degas. And this kind of stuff, I think it's very helpful for you to, at least at one point in your life, you should try to study the masters and learn how they did things. See these really loose lines that they did, really beautiful stuff, and I think that sort of informs what I'm doing these days. Let me show you another one. Actually, I can just grab it, I think. This is a study of a drawing by Michelangelo. Now, this is a sketchbook that I filled while I was living in Taiwan, teaching English. And again, just to show you how many years of practice. Here, look at the cross-hatching there. That'll give you some sense of that. How many years of practice come before you get published? This is one of the first things that I did that was fairly professional looking. It was a travel diary that I did as I traveled through India and Nepal. Again, this has never been published, but this shows you how serious I was about creating professional quality work. I don't know if this will ever be published, sadly, but just to give you a sense, probably most published artists have stuff like this that they can show you as they were gearing up and getting ready to do their first projects. Okay, this is my first real comic book story called The Beast That Ate Morioka. I did this in Japan. I was an English teacher at the time. And this is, I would say, where I first started getting serious about doing something that was really a story from beginning to end. And it did eventually get published. But before that, again, there were a few more things I can show you that didn't get published. Here we go. I decided to do my own illustrated version of a classic Japanese fairy tale called Momotaro. Again, a whole other book here that has never been published, but hopefully getting toward a level of publishable quality. Believe it or not, yet another one down here. Hang on if we can get to it. An ABC book that I did. O is for onion. Are these onions okay? Obviously. Now you know why this one didn't get published. Anyway, around this time I finally created my first published comic book work called Akiko. Let me show you that. So here we go. This was my first breakthrough comic book project called Akiko on the Planet Smoo. Created this in Japan while I was still an English teacher. And I just want you to see, this is really, for those of you who are like, how do I get published? Well, I'd say create a finished story, first of all, that is of this kind of level of polish and professionalism. That's what I did. No one was paying me to do this one. I was just doing this on my own, with dreams of getting published someday, using the Zipatone in Japan. Let me zoom in here. Not really a manga project. This was more like a traditional American style comic book project, but this did finally get published in 1995. So here it is, my first published comic, Akiko on the Planet Smoo. And how I got this deal was not by knowing anybody. I just had a list of small comic publishers. I chose 10 of them, and I made photocopies, not the originals, photocopies of it, and I found one company by the name of Sirius. Let's zoom in there. They loved it, and they wanted to turn it into a series, which they did. So when people ask me, how do we get published? Well, first of all, create a publishable comic, and then mail it around until someone is willing to publish it. You know, basically, I would say stick with the smaller publishers, small press publishers. They're going to be more likely to have the time to look at it. I didn't bother with DC Image, these really big places. I don't know if Tokyo Pop, if they actually are looking at submissions. Why not try a smaller publisher? That's how it worked for me. So that was really the big breakthrough. Random House Children's Books saw my comic, they liked it, and they invited me to turn it into a series of chapter books. And so, in addition to being a comic book creator, I became an author and illustrator of chapter books, using these same characters telling stories based on the same sort of concept. After that got going and I sort of established myself there, I launched a second series called Billy Click. I don't know if there's anyone here on YouTube that reads chapter books, but if you do, I'd be honored if you checked out my chapter books. This series, Billy Click, there are only 2 books in this series, but the Akiko series, there are quite a number of them. And then finally, that led to Miki Falls. So now you know the backstory of how I got to where I am right now, and certainly I would never have had the chance to publish Miki Falls if I hadn't gone through all this other stuff, you know, getting ready for it. So I hope that's helpful to those of you who want to get published, to see kind of the long process. We're talking about years and years. I was well into my 30s by the time this got published, and you know, in my 40s now as this Miki Falls series has come out. But let me shift gears and do one more thing with this video before I finish it. And just like for you all to meet the family here, this is my daughter Mio, a year and a half, and my son Matthew. And let's see if I can find photos of me and my wife Miki. Yeah, there we are, me and my wife, and finally maybe end the mystery of what I look like. People are always saying, you got to show yourself in your videos. Well, here we go. I'm not going to turn the camera on myself, but now there's a shot of what I look like, and maybe I can show one more thing. Yeah, I couldn't resist getting at least one more shot of little Mio here, year and a half years old. She's a cutie, if I do say so myself. This is 1 year now today, the 1 year anniversary of me being on YouTube. In fact, if you go back to my very first video, you will see Mio here, 1 year younger. And I just want to really honestly thank everyone who subscribed. I cannot believe that in 1 year I ended up with more than 5,000 subscribers. It still just blows my mind. And almost kind of overwhelmed, really, and touched by the support and encouragement that I've had from all of you. So I want to thank you again, and apologize that I am not going to be able to make a new video for another couple of weeks. It's going to be maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I'm just going to be on the road a lot. So please accept my apologies, but I will be back with another video as soon as possible. Not back real soon like I usually am, but back in 3 weeks or so. Thanks again for watching my videos, my friends. I really do appreciate it, and I'll be back as soon as possible with another one. Take care.